One thing that I know that everybody, regardless of what race, age, creed, sex, whatever, preferences, we all have this in common. You have a time when you're born, and then you have a time when you're no longer existing in the physical form, right? If you've been working for $50,000 a year and you work for 20 years, congratulations, you're a millionaire, right? But because you've gotten your millions of dollars slowly, you're still broke. If I was to tell you, instead of it taking you years of your time, you can make that same $1 million in 6 months, would you be okay with that? What would that help you do? Give you a whole lot of your time back. The more money you can make in a shorter period of time, the more wealth you have. You want to make more money, then you have time to spend in your lifespan while creating wealth, while creating your legacy. Get a government contract because the government has so much money and they have to spend it with small businesses. And so why not take a look at something that literally can change your life? Buying time with money. I'm actually going to break down to you the number one important thing that we all need to have more of. Time, right? And I'm going to show you actually how you can buy your time back with money and how you can use your business to get more money so that you can then reinvest that money to buy your time back, and you can spend more of that time with the people that you say you love the most. I'm going to show you why most people start their business in the first place, but why many fail to actually buy their time back, and many actually end up working so hard that so much time goes by that by the time they look up, it's only a few short years remaining in front of them. And so if you are one of those entrepreneurs who's, I got to work really hard over the next 20, 30 years so I can enjoy my time with my family, and you didn't start your business until you were about 40 years and didn't really become financially literate till you about 30, 40 years. By the time you look up, you're 60, 70 years old, then guess what? You don't really have that much runway left in front of you, because most of the time people don't live past 100, right? So hopefully we all get a chance to live at least to 100, but most people, the average lifespan is around 70, 80, maybe even 90. So getting started late means that you have a lot of things to catch up with, and you must catch up with those things fast. You have to buy some of your time back so you're able to actually enjoy your success and reap the benefits of all of your hard work that you've been putting in. Here's one thing that I know that everybody, regardless of what race, age, creed, sex, whatever preferences you have, we all have this in common. You have a time when you're born, and then you have a time when you're no longer existing in the physical form, right? So that's the time when you die. And in that time in between, if you look at a gravestone, there's a small dash in between, and that is your lifespan. And many of us don't even really take good advantage or care of ourselves during that particular short lifespan. If you look at a gravestone and it has that small little dash, like that dash is the same size for everybody, regardless if you live the day, if you live 10 days, if you live 30 years, if you lived 100 years, we all have the same runway. What are you going to do with your dash? Are you going to leave a legacy? Will you have a name that will be remembered for generations to come? And most recently, a thought leader that I follow said these powerful words. He said, many people are born, they live, they work really hard, and then they die without leaving a legacy. So by the time the next generation or 2 generations out, you're forgotten about. So just imagine and think about all the people, our ancestors, our forefathers, our grandfathers and greats that have come before us. We've forgotten about those people. I don't know about you, but I don't even know their names past grandfather, great-grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother. I don't even know the names of the people who came before. But that goes to show something. However, yet we as people, especially in the business world, successful people who follow success leaders and success stories, like we know the names of other people's families, the names like the Vanderbilts, the Fords and Warren Buffetts and all of those great names, because they have left a legacy. But what are you doing with your dash? Because you too can leave a legacy. So I started my business back when I was about 27 years old. So that's 20 years ago, right? That's 2 decades ago, right? Had I known what I know today that I did not know then, I would be so much further ahead. But I thank God for second chances. I still thank God that it's never too late to start. But my God, if the information I'd known today had been instilled in me way back when I was in my 20s, I would be so much further along. And I will be living the legacy right now. But now that I'm like 2 decades later in my 40s, now is for me is very important to really take advantage of the time, because time is of essence. And people say that, and we've all been brainwashed and programmed to believe like certain cliche things. Can we talk about it, y'all? Can we just talk about it? I just want to have a real conversation about why it's important to buy your time back, but most importantly, how to buy your time back. And I'm going to show you a strategy that you can actually use and implement if you're coachable. Because these high level thoughts are not for everybody. Everybody's not coachable. Everybody don't want to change. So I'm not talking to those who already know everything. I'm talking to those who are willing to admit that we are on a journey to be constantly learning and evolving as a people and as individuals and as parents and leaders and wives and aunties and sisters. Like, we're constantly evolving and learning new things every day. So when I first started my business, all I knew was that I wanted to make enough money to, number one, pay my bills, and to have enough remaining over to where I can have whatever I want without even having to think about how much it costs. Those are the top two reasons why I started my business. I wanted to be comfortable, right? I had no idea that a business is actually a vehicle that you can convert to create wealth for yourself. And in the process of creating wealth, not only can you buy your time back and create generational wealth and a legacy and all these other things, but in actually running a business the right way, you can really live financially free. Actually live for free, right? You can live for free. And I talked about that in one of my previous videos about how to live for free. There are ways that you can actually live for free, but in order for you to do that, you got to be making more money. So we've all been brainwashed and programmed to have certain types of conversations when we're talking about what's going on with P. Diddy or Beyonce and whatever, Taylor Swift. I don't care about those things. What I care about is leaving a legacy. What I care about is focusing on transforming lives. What I care about is creating generational wealth, and my sons that will have sons who will have sons. Those are the things that I like to focus on, leaving a legacy. So many have heard the cliche phrase that time is money. Anybody have ever heard the term time is money? Do you believe that time is money? So here's what I found, right? In learning from really wealthy people and doing the research myself and really understanding about the concept around time and money, I learned that time is actually not money. So when you believe that time is money, then guess what? Then you find yourself paying a whole lot of your time in exchange for a little bit of somebody else's money. I learned that from my leader, Byron Golden. He says that when you believe that time is money, then you're always willing to give a whole lot of your time for a little bit of somebody's money. Hence, employees, people who work for other people, right? There's nothing wrong with that concept, because everybody is not fit to be an entrepreneur. Some people are fit to be told what to do, when to do it, when to clock in, when to clock out, how much they're going to get paid, and here's a benefits package. Some people are fit for that. And there are some really amazing jobs that are out there. But I'm one of those people that I'm working for somebody else and helping them build their dreams while mine stay deferred. It is not for me. And it took me some years to really realize and learn that is not a part of my journey or the fabric that I was cut from. And so when you believe that time is money, of course, you do things like maybe you'll spend 10 hours a day working in exchange for $100 a day. Those types of things, whatever it is that you're working for, that's $10 an hour. Maybe you'll spend 8 hours working for $100 a day, right? And you take $100 a day times 5, 10, 15, 20, that's $2,000 a month. And so you do the math on however you want to do the math, but Of course, that same time that you're spending working 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day for a little bit of somebody's money, you actually can be 10xing that. $100 times 10 is like $1,000. You can literally, when you have a business, be making about $1,000 a day or more. and I'm talking about very minimum. So you take that $1,000 a day times 20 days out of the month, that's excluding weekends, that's $20,000 a month. So for me, I believe that if you're not at least making $1,000 a day and you're working for someone else, you need to be working for yourself, start a side hustle, do something, right? If you're working for yourself and you're not making at least $20,000 a month, something's wrong. And I'm going to share with you what that problem could be. So I'm going to go to my vision board here, and I'm going to share with you this concept. This is the value ladder, the premium value ladder. I've done this in a previous video before in more detail, so I'm not going to get into the granular details of this premium value ladder. So I call it PVL, the premium value ladder. At the lowest level, and this is for entrepreneurs, people who have a business, right? At the lowest level of value is the B2C business model, business to consumer. This is where entrepreneurs who work really hard and are still exchanging their time for dollars, they're making between $0 to about $80,000 or more, a little bit more, but they're exchanging time for money. Which means that if you have limited time, there's only 24 hours in a day. And even within that, we're sleeping about at least 6 to 8 hours of that, right? So then you do the math backwards, 16 hours. Now you have to get up, you have to cook. Some of you work jobs, some of you have businesses, and you have kids, and you have to drive and then the commute. So really, we only working with about 6 hours a day, right? So 6 to 8 hours a day, right? Unless you're working really hard around the clock like that, or don't have a lot of responsibilities. And so you can put in 10 to 12-hour days. But anyways, time for money, right? So if you only have 10 hours in a day working overtime and you're exchanging time for money, then you only have a maximum of about 50 hours a week that you can get paid for your time on the money, which means that limited time means you have limited money. So this is the problem with the B2C level. You're doing an exchange, consumer, business to consumer, and you have very little time, and you're getting paid by the hour or in exchange for the hour. And guess what? They're not going to keep paying you for unlimited time. So limited time, limited pay, which is why most B2C business models are pretty much stuck at the $80,000 mark on average. The average of entrepreneurs who are small businesses, and you can do the research on your own, they say 94% make under 6 figures. So that means you're hanging around this right here, this level, right? Make under 6 figures. 80,000 is far under 6 figures. Okay. It's closer to 100,000 than 0, but it's still under 6 figures. So the next business model is B2B. So the B2B, this is where you break through the threshold of 80,000 to about 150K, right? Business to business. So this is where now you're starting to remove your money, unanchor your money from time, and no longer get paid in time for money, but now you're getting paid a contract to deliver a specific service for a business. It's one to many, you're serving a whole company, right? So now you're working under contracts, right? And contracts are valuable. That's why everything that we do, you go to the DMV, you sign a contract. You get a birth certificate, it's a contract. You go to the Social Security office, that's a contract, right? Everything that we do evolves around contracts. But when it comes to business, then we want to do time for dollars exchange instead of contracts. And so this is the reason why I say the higher up the value ladder, the more powerful you are, the more money you can release, the more time you can get back. And I'm going to get back to how you can buy your time back, right? By making more money. Okay. 80,000 to 150,000. So the next level of value is the B2C square, right? Which is business to corporation. So these are contracts, right? These are smaller contracts. These are larger contracts, which could be multiple contracts as well for you, which is where you're breaking through the 6 figures to multiple 6 figures. Let's just say about $250,000. Right. And these are just average numbers. The higher the value, the client, the more premium the client, the more money you can actually make while getting your time back, because your time is no longer anchored in dollars. So here you actually have a contract to buy your time back as you go up. So having these contracts actually buys your time back. You could be doing the same amount of hours. So let's just say the 8 hours, right? Or this would be more like 80 hours because you're exchanging time for dollars, but you can make the same amount of money up here working less hours because you're getting paid more than it will cost you down here. It will cost you a lot more of your time and you're making a little bit of money. People say time is money. And the more time you have to spend to get some money, like the more broker you are, like literally. And so as you go up, the highest level of value on the value ladder is B2G, which is business to government. These are the large contracts. These are big, lucrative, and they can be multiple as well. And within the contracts, there can be multiple streams of revenues within that contract. This is where you break through the $250,000, like within your first year. I would say about 5 million or so. Really, it's unlimited. It goes unlimited. However, when you say unlimited income earning potential, people's brain just melts because we have not been programmed to understand that there is no limit. You can have what you want. You can grow as big as you want. We're not programmed that way. So we have to have limitations around us, right? Because we've been programmed to have limits, right? So because of the way that our brains were programmed, I'm going to put a number here, and that number for me is going to be 5 million, right? And this you can do like within your first year of business, working the same minimum hours. I'm not going to say you're going to make 5 million in 8 hours. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you could be working about 8 hours a week or even 8 hours a month, depending on the contract, and be making between $250,000 or more, right? And these are just average numbers that I'm just sharing with you. So the higher up on the premium value ladder, the more time you get back. So speaking of time, let's just say the goal is to get to your first million, because I know for a fact with the amount of contracts that are out there, especially in the government space, government contracting is the most lucrative business model that you can build. Now, because of the amount of money that's flowing through the government's ecosystem, at least every business in America. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying it. I wanted to take some time to invite you to join me in the GovCon Challenge. The GovCon Challenge takes place once a month, where I invite a bunch of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs to come and have me teach you the 5 things you must do to pre-qualify your business to land lucrative contracts with the government. So join me in the GovCon Challenge. Click on the link in the description. You'll be glad you did. Join as VIP for exclusive behind-the-scenes information, and you could become a part of the top 1% of entrepreneurs across the nation. Now back to the video you were watching. Could be making, if you were doing government contracts and you have a strategy and you know how to execute on it, which means that you have to be willing to learn. If you're not willing to learn, then guess what? Then you can just you're going to just remain where you are because you're uncoachable. But for those who are willing to learn how to actually execute on a real strategy to get these results, $1 million, it could be your baseline. It will be your baseline, right? $1 million is your baseline. Now look at this. Here's the thing. If you actually work a job that pays about $80,000 a year, but you're working about maybe 40 to 50 hours a week. So let's just say 45. I'll do the number in between. And then there are 52 weeks in a year. So that's 2,340 hours a year put into making $80,000 a year. That's crazy. It's preposterous, right? To put in that, to be making this kind of money, right? But they say money is time. No, time is not money, because this is 2,300 hours of my time per year. Multiply that by a decade. If you've been working for a decade, that's 223,400 hours, right? Then it becomes 23,400 hours. That's still a lot of hours, right? Over a decade. And then you multiply that 80, that's for $800,000, because you multiply this by 10 as well. For 23,000 hours, you've only gotten paid $800,000. Yet, had you landed 4 contracts of $250,000 in a year, you will have made $1 million. 4 contracts, and it may take you 10 hours a month per contract. So that's 40 hours a month per contract, right? Not 40 hours a week, but 40 hours a month per contract in your first year. Do the math on this. You take 40 times 12. That's 480 hours. So which one would you rather pay life to get to your first million? Now this, you're not even at a million. You're at 80,000 and you're spending 23,000 hours versus 480 hours to make a million. Which one would you rather do? So anyways, woo, light bulb just went off. Here's how you can make a million with contracts. Here's how you can make barely a million working for somebody else over the next decade and how many hours it will take for you to reach that. However, if you have been working for $80,000 a year, you multiply that about 12 years. $80,000 a year, it takes you about 12 years to have reached a million, right? So if you've been working at $80,000 a year and you work for a company for about 12 years, congratulations, you're a millionaire. However, because you've been making $80,000 a year, which puts you in the middle class, poor working class tax bracket, 50% of your income is going to taxes, whether you believe it or not, it is. So really you're living off of about $40,000 a year, right? Which is why there are the haves and there are the have-not. And so when you look at this, you're just like, oh my God, it took me 12 years to become a millionaire and I'm still broke. So congratulations, you have been a millionaire if this has been your scenario. If you've been working for $50,000 a year and you worked for 20 years, congratulations, you're a millionaire, right? But because you've gotten your millions of dollars slowly, you're still broke. However, the one concept that we've been programmed to talk about and to attach, making money faster, getting rich quick, they say schemes, right? So most people who have the mindset of a middle class working poverty mindset that think you have to work harder in order to make more money and think you have to spend more time in order to make more money, that mindset, if I was to tell you, instead of it taking you 12 years of your time, you can make that same $1 million in your first year or first 2 years of business. So now I have saved you 10 years to 11 years of your time that you can get back. And because you've been able to make 1 million in a year or two, now you are wealthy. You're rich. Do you want to get rich quick or do you want to get rich slow? Because many of you are already automatically getting rich slow, which is why you're broke. Which scenario do we want to go with? Getting rich quick is not a scheme. It's not a scheme. It's not a scheme. It's not a scam. It's not any of those things. If you believe that, just know that the things that you believe, you are right. There's a reason why this has been put out into the marketplace. The average person will not want to be a part of the scheme, quote unquote. It's not a scheme, which is why the average person will probably never be a part of the top 2% of money earners in the world, because of the way that they believe in the relationships that they have around the thoughts of money. The thought process is wrong, right? So if you have been believing wrong things about money, then we have to rediscover and redefine our relationship and the things that we do believe about money. So in order for you to land lucrative contracts with the government, that can basically be $1 million. So now, how many of you, if you wanted to learn or okay with learning a step-by-step process to how you can secure $1 million in a year, so how many of you would that change your life? It will help you. It will help you do a few things, right? Not only does that give you your time back because you no longer have to work 40 to 50 hours. You can do this. So literally, if you can commit to 10 hours a week, faithfully focused on executing 10 hours a week and committing and dedicating 10 hours a week to your business. Can you do that, right? Because you're probably already doing this in your business and you're making under $80,000. The average entrepreneur is 8 out of 10 of y'all right now that are watching me right now, 8 out of 10 of you is doing this. You're working hard and working backwards and spending your time, right? If you can make $1 million in 6 months, would you be okay with that? What would that help you do? Give you a whole lot of your time back. Now, the more money you can make in a shorter period of time, the more wealth you have. This is my wealth line. So let's just say this is time. This is a year. This is 1 month to 12 months. This is a year. The less money you make over a longer period of time, this is like a 12-year period. This is 12 months. This is 12 years, right? The least money you make over this period of time, equaling and totaling $1 million, you ain't really made nothing. Your life hasn't changed. It's a flat line. It's a flat line, right? And so this is what we want. We want some cash flow influxes. So then guess what? When you have cash flow influxes and your lifestyle hasn't really drastically changed because now you know how to make $250,000 in a quarter, or $1 million in a year, or even $500,000 in a single year. Now you know how to do that. Now you have this overflow, right? Getting in the overflow, in abundance, in overflow of cash flow. And guess what you can do with that cash flow? Reinvest it into money producing assets that's going to continue to help you buy your time back, right? Because buying time, like we're in the business of buying our time back, right? It's money producing assets. This is a rental property that's producing income. Now you have your money working for you. You have taken money from your cash influx, your profits, and you have reinvested that money, because still money is dead. If you do not move your money and put it into something that's going to convert even more money, then you just basically placed your money in the Dead Sea, and your money just dies right there, right? The average person, money, it goes to them, and then it goes out and it dies, right? But here's how it can come to you, and you can reinvest it and make it come back to you in multifold. The money is alive, right? This is being by the rivers of living water. And so now you have money producing assets that continues to work for you and grow for you. Instead of you working hard for money, then you can deploy your money to work for you. How many of you want your money to work for you? Maybe your money is not currently working for you and you want it to work for you, right? So when your money begins to work for you, then guess what you get? This right here. More time. This is the clock. More freedom, more time to spend with the people that you say that you love the most. If you love the people that you say you truly love, which could be your loved ones, your spouse, your children, your parents, your friends, your family, all of those people that you say you love, but yet you're willing to spend a lot of time for a little bit of somebody's money, then it's backwards, right? So how much do you really love your family members? What about you, right? How much time would you like to spend living out your dreams and having financial freedom and living in abundance and being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor? This is how you expand your life, by having more money to buy your time back. First, you got to get to the money. You got to make more money. When you want to make more money, then you have time to spend in your lifespan while creating wealth, while creating your legacy, and creating a legacy with that dash. Get a government contract because the government has so much money and they have to spend it with small businesses. And so why not take a look at something that literally can change your life? You have to have the right attitude with people around you as well as with yourself, and be spiritually aligned with a man above. You have to have the right spirit in order to open up these opportunities and to allow the wealth to flow into you, right? Into your life. And so this is why I know that time is not money. It's another reason why I know that time is not money. If you had to choose to have money and more time, to get more time and more money, and you could have them both, how many of you want both of those simultaneously, right? Heck yeah, sign me up for that, right? I've already signed myself up for that. It's the government contracting and understanding how it works. Do you want to learn how to sign yourself up for that so you can learn how to buy your time back and have more time, more money and more time? How to become a yearly millionaire rather than a decade millionaire, right? Because if you've made money over a decade, you spent it along the way. At the end of the decade, you have nothing to show for it but bills and tax bills. You have nothing to show for it but liabilities that sit around you. All these liabilities, you have nothing to show for it. However, the faster you can make the money, it turns into wealth. The more wealth you can actually create. Getting rich faster is definitely something that you should want to do. And the reason why so many people don't want to do it is because of the terminology of get rich quick schemes. The terminology of get rich quick, it has a nasty just echo about it, right? Because that's what people want you to believe about it. But guess what? The wealthy, all of them, guess what they're doing? They're getting rich quick. They're making millions of dollars in a single day. But yet the average middle class broke person thinks that something's wrong with that. And you're right. If you believe that something's wrong with that, you're right, which is why it won't come to you. You can't do it because you believe something's wrong with it, right? You have shut off the possibility spiritually for it to happen for you because you believe what you believe. And belief systems is so very key to understand. What am I believing about money? What am I believing in my spirit about wealth and abundance and all those different things? What am I shutting off? It's time to turn on those faucets of wealth and abundance in your life and really just switch and change how we believe and the things that we think about money. Where did that belief system come from? So if you want your money to work for you, here's the game plan. So some people have a little bit of money. Everybody has some money, right? If you don't have no money, it means that you're not resourceful. You're not accessing the money because money is all around you. If you have no money, you can start a business. I'm just going to put it as a vehicle. This is a business. Selling what? Whatever it is that you're good at. You can sell hair, you can sell pencils, you can sell time, you can sell consulting services, you can sell doors, you can sell glasses, you can sell phones, you can sell whatever it is that you want to sell, but you must have a business. You have a business, it will bring you money if you don't have any money, right? What do I get the money if I have no money to start the business? There are such things called credit cards. Use credit cards. There's friends and family. There's a whole crowdfunding. There's grants. There are ways around to make things happen for yourself if you want it. Because if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen, right? There's no excuses in life, right? If you want it bad enough, regardless of what the situation or circumstance look like, you will make it happen for yourself. So now let's say you've moved from the not having and you became a have, but your have is limited, right? Here's what you do. You turn your little bit of money into a cash building machine, an asset. You have to convert the little bit of cash that you have into an asset that shows you exactly how to produce more money. Whether that is a class, a training, a conference, a tool, all these are a coaching program, a mentor, a book. These are all the various forms of educational knowledge and information that can show you how to make more money. You must convert the little bit of money into this asset. Then here's the gameplay. So you learn something from a book, a course, a training, a mentor, a coach, or whatever tool you invest in, you learn that. And then you must follow the blueprint. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So you follow them, just follow the blueprint, execute on it. Because if it worked for 1,000 or more other people, it can work for you. No excuses. But I'm tired and I don't like to get up extra early and I got these kids and the way that my things are hooked up and I did all these excuses. And I don't really have time and I don't like the fact that this is happening. And so this is what I'm going to do instead. Like excuses, right? You're either going to show up for yourself or you're not. Do you want it? You've already taken the first step and invested in an asset that's going to teach you how to do the thing. Now it's important doing however many steps it takes. Now you have to put those steps into action. And then guess what? The result is going to be the tangible thing. You invested in something that showed you how to make money. You take an action to learn the things and deploy the steps. And the result is going to be the thing that you invested in the first place. Whatever the outcome was, now you have that as a result. And now you've taken the profits from that whole lot of money and you've done what? You reinvest those into more money producing assets, whether that's rental property, whether that's luxury vehicles that you're going to rent out. These are passive money producing income streams, right? Into more knowledge, a coach, more trainings, more education, more mentors, right? That's going to show you how to redo this again. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And then you execute. Now you have more money, right? Over here. And you still have more income producing assets. So now you went from a oneplex to a duplex. Now you have 2 producing passive income plus this one thing. And then you have reinvested in something that's going to teach you how to multiply that wealth. And now you have other things that you can still invest in, which could be a life policy, a life insurance policy, which that can show you how to multiply your wealth, become your own bank and all those other things. But people miss out on the opportunity to be able to create this type of momentum. So what I've done was shown you how you get in the game, right? And then you get the result, and then you rinse and repeat. Now you reinvest into additional money producing assets. So what you begin to create is this snowball effect of money momentum. And before you know it, now you have so much money and it's giving you your time back. Now you don't have to work as hard. Your money is working for you. Initially, you're working for money here, but then you've put your money to work. And from there, your money begins to work for you, and money begets money, and everything brings forth after its own kind, in its own likeness. This is the success principle we do have. You got to become the person, the identity that does the thing, the activity in order to get said result, which is the property. You got to be the person that does the thing. If you don't do the thing, you can't have the result. There's no way to get the result without doing the thing, and you cannot do the thing until you become the person. Are you ready to become the person? And if that is true, doing business with the government, for those of you who have a business, if it is true that you have a business and you would like to have more money and more time, and you want to spend that time with the family and loved ones and people that you say you love the most, and you want to create money momentum and have your money work for you, and you want to have financial freedom and time freedom and to be able to live more longer and healthier, and you want to create a legacy with your dash, and you want people to remember your name because of the work that you put in for this generation, so that the generations behind you will still be able to eat off the fruits of your labor, then you want to take a serious look at government contracts. Then when is the time for you to make that happen for yourself? All you got to do is do the thing, right? And when you learn how to secure lucrative government contracts, the money momentum will begin at that moment. And with knowledge and mentorship and guidance, it's going to show you how to reinvest some of those profits into the income producing assets that will again prepare you for your retirement. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Karwanna D. Irvin, your GovCon extraordinaire. I hope this has been a blessing for you. Go ahead and do what you have to do to buy your time back so that you can have more time and more money. Go ahead and secure your first government contracts this year, and we can show you how. If you want to know what it takes and who you need to become so that you can actually start the money momentum in your life, right? Go to govconchallenge.com, and I'll see you guys at the top.